Hello and welcome to the Tome podcast. I'm your host, Minty. Sat across from me, my old pal, Pops. How we doing, mate?
All right. Yeah, I'm not too bad today.
All good?
Yeah, been chilling, playing some games
Nice.
as always.
We had a good session the other day, didn't we?
We
Played
did.
some games.
We did. What was it? About 4 or 5 games we did.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad for someone who's only played like 4 games.
It was good. It was good fun. I mean, we did the day out, didn't we? Where we played quite a few more games.
6-hour session.
Yeah.
6, 8 hours, something like that.
6 hours, and then I think we played 6 games.
Yeah, I think so. But we'll talk about them in a bit.
Yeah. Anything new?
I bought another Magic set.
Oh.
Yeah, another one. The Assassin's Creed.
The starter set.
The starter set, yeah. It wasn't the Commander set. I'm not that rich.
I'm not sure there is commanders for Assassin's Creed.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. Maybe there is.
Cool.
Who knows? Let us know.
Anything on the news front?
Oh no, you're the news man. You've made all the notes.
We should probably let them know about our social media.
Yeah, we've gone into the 21st century and got an Instagram account.
Do we know what the handle for the Instagram account is?
Do. Bear with me a moment.
We'd like to thank everybody for joining us for this second episode. Obviously, it's going to be called episode 1. But if we can just ask, if you enjoy it, please leave a review and write in the comments anything you want to hear from us, any ideas that you have, any criticisms. I'm sure we can take it with big boys.
Maybe. It is Tome_of_worms_pod.
Lovely. So that's our new Instagram handle. Pops is in charge of our Instagram. He is looking after it. He's got a load of pictures up already. I believe there's merch available.
Yeah,
we've
got a link to the new merch page. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's any merch you want. What we should do. Let us know if it's rubbish.
Yeah. Just let us know. I mean, we're open to constructive feedback. Would be nice.
Yeah. I'm not really. I might cry in the corner if you if you're too mean. So I don't want to do any Instagram crying.
Right. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different from what we discussed last time. We've had a little bit of time to reflect and spoken to a few of our close friends in our gaming circles. We said we were going to be doing deep dives into single games. But I think for now, there will be some of those. But we're going to go into just subjects. So for our first episode about games, today's podcast is going to be about entry-level games. So first question of the day, Pops. What is an entry-level game to you?
So, entry-level game, I guess it's something that's really easy to pick up, something that's really easy to understand, a game that you can play with, like, from any age, not like 3 months old, but any age. Just you just get into it so much quicker, and you don't have to think about your strategy so much. So, no, if you're playing something like Hellboy or something, that's going to be a bit too advanced for someone that's only ever played Snakes and Ladders, should we say? But yeah, there's quite a lot of entry level games on the market, as we've found out recently.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way of describing an entry level game. My understanding of it is a game that you can teach to anyone, whether they like board games, whether they like video games, whether they don't know what a board game is. It's those games that you can teach people that they'll enjoy, not get bored of, and keep people coming back and playing.
I think you kind of have to have a visual aspect to it as well to keep people interested. I think if you just have a very plain board, some very plain counters, might as well play Tiddlywinks.
Yeah, I think a very important part of entry level games is actually who's teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yep.
if you've got a group of 4 people that know play board games, ask somebody who might have played it. Places like Thirsty Meeples are really good for stuff like that, where they've got game gurus who'll come over, teach you how to play, tell you about the game, whatever, even suggest games to your liking, whether it be, a game about Disney or Marvel or something like that. Getting that interaction into people. I do have a definition of an entry level game from the New York Times.
That well-known board game magazine.
I mean, they had quite a good section on entry level games, which is why we went with it. So the New York Times say an entry level game is a game that requires lighter strategy and are quick to learn, but also involve enough exciting decision making to keep adults engaged. I think we covered most of that in what we said.
That's chess out of the question then.
Yeah, chess isn't really an entry level game, is it? To be fair,
not really. You really got to think about that.
So we have a few games that we're going to go through. Obviously, this is our opinion. These are entry level games, according to us. If there's anything you think we've missed, any you want to hear us talk about a little bit more, pop it in the comments. And we apologise if we have missed anything that's super obvious.
Send us a DM. Maybe we should do a thing where people send us DMs on Instagram and we read out the funny ones.
We can do that. Absolutely do that.
Just be careful what you write, though.
So, entry-level games. I'm going to start. My first entry-level game is one of the games that I've played with most new people that have never played board games.
And if you follow us on Instagram...
Yeah, you would have seen it.
You would have already seen it, or at least something about it. No, yeah, you would have.
Yeah. First game I'm going to talk about is Fireball Island. Now, between about 5 of us that play in our board game group, this has come to an entry-level score out of 10 of 9.5. Obviously, that's our opinion. Fireball Island is a nice, simple game about 4 to 5 adventurers. The base game's 4, and then you get the expansion, gives you 5.
Mm-hmm.
Going around an island where a volcano is inevitably going to erupt. The idea is to go around collecting treasure. And taking photos of different places. And then the most points at the end wins. The main shtick with Fireball Island is the entire map is a marble run. There are bits where you can flick marbles to try and hit people. There's a boulder that knocks people over. When the volcano erupts, you put it through like a freeway randomizer.
Could go whichever way. And I think when we played it, I was a little bit frustrated because every time I was in the wrong place, and it just destroyed me.
I think you hit yourself twice.
Yes.
So the reason we go through this and why I think it's an entry level game is the rulebook is very small, simple to learn. All the player has to do is choose one of the 2 cards they have and complete what it says.
Yep.
I'm going to go through the perks of the game before we go through any of the cons. For me, visually, it's incredible. It's nice and easy. It's good fun. I mean, who doesn't want to try and knock over the people they're playing against with marbles?
Mm-hmm.
Or sending remember those old plastic frog toys?
I used to flick. Yes, I remember those. Of course I remember those.
There's a tiger that you can flick and knock people over with that.
Yeah, that went flying across the table a couple of times when I had my go.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to control. The visuals, the rulebook's really nice and simple. It goes through everything. And what the company who made it, Restoration Games, did very well is they included an app. On the app, it's got like a treasure randomizer. So it can show you where to put different treasures instead of people thinking you're doing it out of spite.
Yeah.
It has sound effects. So when you fire an ember marble, you can click on it and it makes sound effects or this kind of stuff. And it's got a really cool score sheet on that you just fill in. It does all the hard work for you. Everybody I've ever played this with has liked it. It can run a bit long.
Yeah, I think ours was about an hour or so.
Yeah, but that's dependent on who you're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending who you're playing with. So the volcano can erupt 3 times, and you add more marbles every time it erupts. When it erupts for the final time, the island explodes. Any treasures on there are lost. Any photos that anybody has taken are no longer scored. So you have to try and get back on the helicopter. And like I said, it's just good fun. I play it with my daughter. I mean, she's 4. She loves it. She plays on her own. I'm not 100% sure she knows what she's doing all the time. But
she just says the marbles and likes seeing rolling around.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And doesn't like being knocked over.
A bit like me when we played.
Yeah.
I hated it.
One of the cons of this game is the setup time. I've got the Kickstarter version. I have all the expansions and all of that, so it does take a while to set up.
I think it was about 20 minutes when we set up, and then that wasn't including any of the set bits that we set up that rolled around accidentally and fell off and whatever. So yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating setting up a little bit, and if I'm honest, it did seem a bit plasticky, a bit moulded.
Yeah,
like jelly mold kind of plastic. Wasn't great.
I've looked at that. I don't think there's any other way to be able to do it. Not at the price it's at. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive. I know they've redone into another edition, and it's a lot more different.
I mean, you could see it done as a 3D print or something, maybe,
but that's going to be weight plus resin plus you got the time.
Yeah, that would make it be more expensive, but would it be a more premium product?
But then, it's in the main island's in 3 pieces. You clip them together, you're done.
Yeah, you could probably do that with 3D printing if you could do that with 3D printing if you design it correctly or whatever. There's a lot of scope for expansion to make it more premium, like with the box that you've got. You makes it feel a little bit more premium.
Yeah, I mean the original box the Kickstarter came in was flimsy. All the comments were commenting on it, but I understand why, because if you packed it away wrong, you needed that expanding space.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to Broken Token and buy the crate, which has helped. I mean, it doesn't fit in a Kallax, but it does keep everything in one. It's not in 5 different boxes. It's it's there, and it does protect that kind of fragile island. But yeah, I mean, have you got anything else to add on Fireball Island there?
Not really, no. I mean, I feel like I was a bit harsh in my criticisms, like I didn't really have much positives.
No, but I mean, as a quick summary then, I mean, easy to learn, easy to play.
Yep.
We didn't mention the souvenir cards. There are other cards in there that give you power-ups. You when you've got the bees expansion, you can just cover somebody in honey, and then the bees attack them and all that kind of stuff. So there is a good little randomizer in there for that, which is also quite good. It's enjoyable. It can get very competitive, but its table presence is incredible. Once it's all set out, I mean, I've got the main island, we've got the ship, which is an expansion, and the Spider Island, which is another expansion. It takes up quite a lot of the table, but it's good fun. Most people like looking at it. Most people like playing it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was, like you say, what you want from an entry-level game is easy to pick up. It was very, very easy to pick up. It was very visual, as we were saying earlier, and it's interactive as well. Which again, you want that from a game. You want to be able to feel like you're part of it in a way.
I think the table presence is also a small con. Quite a few people have walked in and seen it already set up on the table, and been a bit scared of it, I think. But once they started playing, they've realised, it's easy to play and all that, which is where I think the person teaching the game is very important.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you haven't got the right person teaching the game, it can be overcomplicated or difficult to understand because because that individual is so used to explaining board games, they can kind of get lost in their own words, whereas most people get just tell me straight. How do I get from there to there?
It's something we've noticed as well. Us playing games recently, everyone does have a different interpretation of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might read it one way, and somebody else might read it another way.
Or somebody might not tell rules when you're out playing with games, and then
that was we were in a rush. We're on the time limit
of 6 hours.
Of 6 hours, yeah. What I found really useful for those players that don't have somebody to teach them games and they want to play games. So if you've got a group of you that's never played, YouTube is a great tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
People like Watch It Played, Geek and Sundry, mainly Becca. They can teach you how to play games. They'll show you videos. They'll visually show you how to set up, how to play.
Mm-hmm.
Some people find that really easy. One of our friends prefers just to sit down and read the rulebook before doing anything.
Yep. It has to be very precise.
Yeah, which is obviously where stuff started getting pointed out until he got it wrong. But that's fine. But everyone's going to get it wrong at some point. I think when I first started playing board games with the brothers, we played a game for about 6 months before rereading the rulebook and watching a video and then going, that makes way more sense. But don't take that as a negative. I think if you're all in agreement that that's the rule, then go with it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say, unless obviously it's game breaking, there's nothing to say that can't be used, So for new people who want to teach people board games, or somebody who steps up and reads the rulebook, please don't berate them for it.
I think letting people experiment in a way with the rules, not knowing the rules for so long, and then going, we've been playing this completely wrong. I think there's the scope of being able to play a game to your own rules and enjoying it, or getting a feel for the characters, get a feel for the mechanics of the game.
The base mechanics, yeah.
Yeah, how it plays. I need to draw a card here, or I need to move 3 spaces here before I can do this, or... for that, you are bending the rules a bit, but you're getting to feel...
There's a very good example of that we're going to break the golden rule straight away. Episode 1, Monopoly. I don't think I've ever played with anybody that plays the proper rules. Everybody either...
Does anyone know the rules?
The main rules, and no, I don't think anybody's ever read the rulebook. Every household has their own one. I mean, we used to play when you land on free parking, you get the money out the middle. So when you pay your tax, it goes in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
When you get your community chest and you lose money, it goes in the middle. And then when you land on free parking, you get it. But another house rule that I played, and no other household I played it in, is we went round the board once before you were allowed to buy anything.
No, we used to do that as well.
A sight-in lap.
Yeah.
But that's not the rules. The main rule is, the basic rule of Monopoly is, every time you land on it, you buy it, or it goes to auction.
Yeah.
That's why it says Monopoly is an hour game. But it is a great example of people making up their own rules and going with it, and not being questioned. So it's not always a bad thing. It creates different dynamics. As long as you're keeping the basis of the game, I don't see a problem with it, personally.
Same. I mean... You're talking about Monopoly. I can see 3 coppers over there.
Doesn't mean it comes out very often. They're just collectibles.
Just collectible ones.
So, Pops is going to do the next board game.
Are you really going to make me try and pronounce it again?
I am. Do you want me to do it for you?
No.
Got it?
Carcassian. No, it's not Carcassian. Carcassonne. Carcassonne. Forget it's a French game. Is it right? It's a French game?
It's a French town.
I'm assuming it's a French game then.
I
mean, Star Wars is definitely not French.
It's a Z-Man game. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a Z-Man. But is Z-Man French?
I think the designer's Klaus.
So it could be German. Anyway, it's a multinational game.
Yep.
First time I played it, very, very easy setup. It's just one square in the middle. And then from that, you draw a tile and it has to match up. Where you go, and then you put your little meeple on it, whether you want to play it or you don't have to. Rule book was pretty clear, really easy to understand. There were some pictures in there which are really useful with to see how you set it up. And when you're setting up an easy game, it's very visual as well because they're different tiles, different shapes, whatever. And it just makes it. You can create this whole world, so to speak. And we played the Star Wars version, which was a little bit different to the traditional one, where you're not really battling. Is it the original? You don't battle for the roads.
Yeah. So if you both end up on the same road, obviously the basic rule is you can't put a meeple on a road that somebody else already controls. But if you're at one end of the road and they join up, in the original Carcassonne, you both score it. But in the Star Wars version, you roll a dice, and the highest one wins. That's the difference between the two.
Okay, yeah. So Star Wars, bit of a battle. Makes sense, really, to have a bit of a street fight, I guess. Maybe you can make a Street Fighter version.
Maybe. I don't know what other versions there are of Carcassonne, actually.
If you know,
yeah, let us know.
Put them in the comments. I think visually it was really good and really easy to use. I won. I don't ever win games.
Yeah, that's a rare. I mean, I think you've got 2 wins on the board game stats app that we use.
Two wins, and I won Magic before recording.
Yeah, you did win Magic today.
Yeah, we won't talk about that today.
Disappointed.
It's a good variation. I think the Star Wars version. It makes people a little bit more familiar with it. If you're playing Carcassonne and you look at the box and go, that looks a really old-fashioned game. Why would I want to play that? It looks really boring. But Star Wars, it's going to be good against evil. There's probably going to be a fight, maybe. Very strategic at times. You're trying to work out, right, how can I get the most points as soon as I join up this area? Whereas you might be looking to completely destroy your opponent. Let's go that route, seeing as we're talking about Star Wars.
Absolutely. And it being Star Wars for me was more of a draw. I was more excited to play it because, as we said earlier, it was something to draw me in. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Most of my friends are Star Wars fans, so it's like, why not get the Star Wars one? Mm-hmm. I love Carcassonne. I've played the original version. I've played with a couple of expansions. I think there's 11 expansions now.
Wow.
If not more to the original.
That shows how popular the game is if you're adding expansions regularly.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody that has never played Carcassonne, as Pop said, it's pretty simple. You play a tile. There are tile placement rules. So if you've got one side of the tile must match. So if there's only 2 tiles on the board, one side has to match. But if you've got like a corner, then all sides have to match. So there's roads, cities, monasteries in the base game, whereas in Star Wars it's trading routes, asteroid fields, and planets.
Makes sense.
So if you've got a road on your tile that you're playing, it must link to a road. If you've got an asteroid field, it must link to an asteroid field. But if you've got like a field or dark space, it can join up with there. That was one of the rules we looked at and was like, I'm not 100% sure. The rulebook wasn't 100%
Yeah,
clear.
I don't think any rulebook is ever 100%. Like we said earlier, a lot of rules are open to interpretation of the player. I think there's a lot of scope. Maybe instruction manuals are written like that to be able to raise questions about how you play the game.
I think most companies now do include a clarification page,
or like a quick pages and like here's
yeah
step turns. No, you look at Magic. Every Magic pack is sent with a card that goes, right, here's your turns, untap.
Absolutely. I will say, for anybody listening out there, and we're talking a lot about Magic today, Magic is not an entry level game.
Definitely not.
Some people might
Definitely
see it as that's your opinion. But yeah, I mean, going back to Carcassonne, or Carsone, as I heard some people calling it on the internet the other day, it's a classic that stood the test of time.
Yeah, I'd say it's in that bracket of Risk. No, that's definitely not an entry level game, but it's a classic.
It's engaging. It's competitive. Its replayability of it is really good. Out of the 6 people we play with regularly, we between us came to an average score of 8 out of 10 for this.
Yeah, I'd go with 8 and 10. No, it's not as easy, I think, as Fireball Island, because that was just so easy. But Carcassonne, obviously, we had to go back to the book and kind of question a little bit of it. I think that's why it lost points against that.
See, I don't see a problem with going back to the rulebook. I think that's actually a positive. It's people taking interest, thinking about what they're doing and going, is it possible to do this?
Visually, it was probably the most minimalist, probably. Yeah, it was. So, yeah, it was probably the most minimalist, the most simple setup of a game. More simple than any other game I think we played, other than probably another one I'm going to talk about at the end.
Yep. I mean, Carcassonne, when you talk to people in the board gaming world, most people have played it these days, I think. And that's just a testament to it itself. Small fun fact for you, the surround in the mirrors for Thirsty Meeples in Oxford is Carcassonne.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I did not even notice.
They've built their own mirror and put Carcassonne tiles all the way around the outside.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else to add to that one, is there?
No. It's solid 8 out of 10.
The next game we're going to talk about is going to come across slightly controversial. I know many, many people love the next game we're going to talk about. I will say that
it was on my list to play as well.
Yeah, we were all excited to play it. I've played it a couple of times. Obviously, we've played most of these games a couple of times to get a good feel, different scenarios, different ways of playing, different people we're playing against. I'm going to talk about Catan. Now, looking on Board Game Geek, the website, it is in the entry-level games category, but going back to our old friends, the New York Times, it doesn't include it in its entry-level games. Most people I talk to say it's an entry-level game because it is quite simple.
I agree with that. I'd say it was simple to play.
Yeah.
In a way, it was maybe too simple in a way. It was like almost repetitive.
It's repetitive, yeah. I mean, this is our opinion. Question anything we say if you want to. Leave us a comment just to let us know if we've missed anything.
Let us know we're idiots as well.
When we were playing, it became very, very repetitive. That description from the New York Times earlier about it being engaging for adults, it kind of went out the window by the turn of the hour.
I think I lost interest relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I'd probably 20, 30 minutes. I was thinking, we're not finished yet.
Yeah, I think that was down to the players we were playing with. I think we were all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I've played it a couple of times with other people and it's been quick, simple, go in, but that's with people that have played it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So as an entry-level game, I'm not going to recommend it. We gave it a 5.
Yeah, I don't know whether I bigged it up and was so excited to play it and then was disappointed by it, or I don't know. It's a strange one, but I'm kind of gravitated into giving it another go. I don't think that's it. I'm one and done with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I hate reviewing games or talking about games that I've only ever played once. luckily for me, I haven't. But the whole idea of this podcast is you're new to board games, playing them once, and I want to get your opinion. But the way it was played for us this time was boring. The gameplay itself is really simple. Roll the dice, build cities, build towns.
I was always finding that I didn't have the right cards to build stuff because it's just in a way luck of the draw.
Yeah.
When you pull a card.
I think what didn't help for us is the hype behind the game. I mean, we took you to your first UK Board Game Expo this year, and we couldn't get on Catan.
No.
Couldn't get on the stand. I mean, they had their new technologies version out, but the queues were massive, and we couldn't get onto it. So the hype behind it, I think, affected you, and it affected Ginger, who we were playing with.
Yep.
You were expecting a lot more out of it, I think.
I was expecting this all singing, all dancing game that everyone's raving about, that everyone was queuing up for hours and hours to play. And then we sat down and played it and was like, is this it? Is this all it is?
I think so, but what I will point out to everybody that's listening is we're quite strategic game minded.
Yeah.
We like games like Axis versus Allies, Risk, chess, games like that where you actually have to think about a strategy. Now, we all have similar strategies for most of the games we play, which is what the effect was. The other people I've played it with aren't quite as strategic, or they are strategic, but not like it must be this way. They're quite flexible with how it should be. Like I said, I'm not slagging the game off. I think the concept of the game is incredible. Mm-hmm. The longevity of the game.
Longevity
of the game. The history of the game. How long it's been around. How long people are still playing it. Testament to the company who made it. But I think on that day it just wasn't for us.
Yeah, I think we need to revisit it. Maybe pay one of the expansions.
Yeah, I think so. I think we will revisit. I'm quite excited to try the Game of Thrones to see the difference.
Oh, is that Game of Thrones?
It's a Game of Thrones version.
That could be interesting.
And just see if that draw has anything else. The draw of Game of Thrones is quite cool. Just see if there's a difference there. So watch this space. We might revisit Catan. At the minute, it is a 5 out of 10, and that's over the 3 plays I've done as well.
Mm-hmm. First impressions wasn't great for me, but yeah, I think there's room for improvement. Maybe there needs to be a bit more understanding on my side of things.
I think what didn't help is when you were questioning the rules and trying to read the rule book. I think the rule book was quite confusing. I've played it before where we watched a video on how to play, and it was a lot more simple. I think the rule book confuses quite a few people. It's not set out, in my opinion, the clearest.
Yeah.
It can be quite confusing. But, like we said, this is our opinion. Feel free to let us know if you disagree. Mm-hmm. You have another game for us to talk about.
I do. And I guess this is on the same level as Catan, though. A lot of people play it. A lot of people rave about it. A lot of people think that it's an entry-level game. I certainly believe it's an entry-level game. As soon as you open the box, look into the rule book, it's really easy to set up. Again, a couple of tiles. That's it. And it's Azul.
The version of Azul we're talking about is the original.
We did the original, yes. We didn't do stained glass, even though you have stained glass. There are a few others that look rather nice. It's a very, very pretty game. Very, very visually stunning. The rule book was very, very easy. Very, very precise. It was explained well as well. You can only take it from horizontal or vertical. That's how you score your points. Has to be each colour. Got to fill up the areas. It was easy to pick up. Really, really easy to pick up. Maybe a little bit too repetitive to keep concentration for. If you've got a slow game where you're not getting the luck of the draw from tiles coming out of the bag, you could end up getting frustrated, or just it's every time I'm picking up and I'm getting the wrong colours.
It didn't help that you were playing me.
No.
because I knew the way to stop you from getting what you needed.
Yeah, the strategy side of it came into it, whereas my first impressions of the game before we start playing was there's going to be nothing strategic about this at all.
But then, to be fair, when we were playing, I wasn't trying to just make sure that you couldn't do what you needed to do and you were going to lose points every turn. It was the way the tiles came out didn't suit me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd had to make that a perk so that even though I wasn't picking up the tiles I needed, you were picking up tiles you definitely didn't need, and it was causing you to lose points.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, it was probably 1 or 2 turns round. I'm realising where the tiles need to go. You know, not going, so I picked this up. Does this go there or does it go here? Or it's pretty self-explanatory in that sense. I'd probably like to give the other versions a go, like stained glass.
Absolutely.
Because I think, isn't there a little difference?
I think there's a difference in all of them. The difference with the stained glass is the board you draw your tiles onto changes. It's different, it randomises, and then it flips. So there is a different dynamic to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was always of the opinion, it's like, why is there 4 or 5 different versions of this game? There can't be that much. I mean, there's a variation on the original Mosaic floor one,
Mm-hmm.
where you could flip it over and the coloured tiles aren't on the grid. Now, I haven't read into that at the minute to find out how that works. But obviously, on the original, there is a grid that you have to fill out, and it has the set colours.
Mm-hmm.
So the stained glass one, you get, is it 6 strips, I think it is, that go up and they have the set colours. And then once you complete a strip, you flip it over. Then when you complete it again, you remove it. And that's how you score your points. I'm interested in playing the Summer Pavilion. For me, it just looked stunning. I mean, the pieces for stained glass window are incredible. They're see-through, clear, just absolutely stunning. Mm-hmm. But the box art for Summer Pavilions draws me in. Same for Azul. You know, if you like mosaics, Azul is definitely the game to go for.
Yeah.
To look at that kind of thing.
Definitely, yeah. I think we gave it 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
scored slightly higher than Catan, slightly lower than. It scored slightly lower than Carcassonne. Which thinking about it, maybe it was probably on. Maybe that is a true reflective.
I think some of that is also down to the fact we were only playing 2 players.
Yeah, I think if there was more players, it would be a lot more engaging.
Yeah, I think also the people you're playing with. I mean, my wife loves that game, but her strategy compared to yours is very different. Not in a bad way, but she obviously goes a little bit different. And
that was the first time I'd ever played it.
Yeah.
Ever seen it. First time I'd ever opened the box, as much as I'd wanted to play it for so long.
Yeah. That was
my very first experience.
Absolutely, and as we've said, and people probably remember, you haven't played that many games.
No.
You know, me and my wife are quite competitive when it comes to games. We have a board behind us, 10 by 10, where we do locate who wins what, and that is the whole reason if I've got an app for the board game stats. If my wife wins, she 100% make sure that I fill that app in and put in that she wins. Obviously, she's not too bothered if I win, but about filling the app in, that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Azul for me on reflection is a very good game. I've played it with my grandparents, you know.
Yeah, I think it's one of them games where you can play with the whole family, no matter what the age is. Okay, maybe not too young.
Yep.
But then to them, it'll be matching the colours. Maybe it's a good educational game.
I mean, yeah. My daughter, she's played it a couple of times. She prefers the stained glass one because she finds it prettier because it's pink. Fine, but she can sit and she's got a strategy. Obviously, we bend the rules a little bit for her, change it a little bit just to get her involved. But she loves to play it. I think it's one of those games that some people will look at and go, I don't even know what it is. It's called Azul, you know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely...
Then what is Azul? What does that name mean? If anyone knows, again.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
I'm going to move on to a controversial game for some people, especially on entry level. It's one of my top 10 games of all time. It's on my current top because a new expansion has recently come out. This is going to be Disney Villainous that we're going to talk about next. Some people won't class it as an entry level game because there is quite a lot of strategy to it. It's a it's a card drawing game where you take on the role of a Disney villain. So the original base game was Jafar, Queen of Hearts, Prince John, Maleficent, Ursula, Captain Hook. And then you have to basically draw cards to complete your goal. So Captain Hook needs to find the map to Neverland and then has to defeat Peter Pan on the Jolly Roger. Stuff like that. Prince John has to collect 10 power because he's money hungry, all that kind of stuff. What makes it an entry level game is every villain in the game, whether it be from the base game or the 7 expansions that come with it.
And that's current, isn't it? 7.
Yeah, current.
There's probably more on the way.
Is every villain has a booklet, a little rules booklet, and it tells you exactly how to win.
So it gives you the answers, so to speak.
It tells you what cards are useful, what cards aren't useful. Well, not what cards aren't useful, but it tells you what cards are the most useful for your character and what it is to win. You can play the entire game without interacting with other people. There is a mechanic fating people to be able to hinder somebody else in their way.
What's the minimum player on it?
2.
It has to be 2. You can't do it as a solo.
Can't do a solo on it, no. Because otherwise you're just drawing cards, you're just going to win. I have played a free villain game where I've played all 3. But obviously, by the time you get towards the end, you're always biased towards one because they're closer.
Yeah.
Until the new expansion came out, I played and won as every villain in Disney Villainous. But just because we played it so much. I know a lot of people that don't like it.
We should play it. Well, we haven't played it yet, have we?
We haven't. Me and my family are Disney nerds. The whole family are Disney nerds. Quite a few of my friends are Disney nerds. So the draw of the Disney, especially playing the villains. Most Disney games you play the heroes. This one you're trying to defeat the heroes, which really draws for me.
See, I'm a more DC person, so when they brought Marvel, it's not really a draw for me because I'm not really a Disney person. I'm not really a Marvel person. But if there was a DC, I'd be all over that.
See, I am the controversial person that doesn't like Marvel films. I like Marvel comics. I don't like Marvel films.
I hate Marvel films.
It's not down to the fact they're bad, because I do quite enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, but I wouldn't go to the cinema to watch one. That's my opinion. I know I'm wrong in some people's eyes. I would much rather go and watch a Batman film because I like Batman.
Yep.
I'm not saying by any means that DC films are better than Marvel films, because DC have released some garbage.
Just Batman. All Batman films are always superior. And that is my opinion.
Yeah, that is our opinion. But I have sat down and played the Marvel Villainous. I like the changes it had. So instead of each person having their own fate deck, the fate deck is global. So when you fate somebody, you could end up actually affecting yourself. As you said, it isn't as much of a draw because I don't know the villains that well.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1 or 2 that I play as, and they're the only people I will play as. And in act of fairness, there is a Star Wars version, which once again adds something slightly different, draws more people in. But the main one for me that is the entry level version will always be Disney. Mm-hmm. Once again, my daughter plays it on her own. She'll play. She's got a couple of characters. She's learned what to do, what cards are good, obviously from playing with me or her mum. And she's picked it up really well. She can't read, but she knows the pictures mean certain things. Mm-hmm. But we've played it. I've played it with my grandparents. I've played it with my parents. I've played it with my friends. Everybody plays it differently. Some people are really aggressive with fating. Some people aren't. My wife doesn't fate because she needs to concentrate on what she's doing, not what everybody else is doing. But it has that a range. It keeps people involved because they need to know what they're doing while enjoying what other people are doing. It's quite a social game, you know. It's quite quick turns and all that kind of stuff. We haven't scored it as a whole at the minute. I think we'll have to revisit.
Yeah, I think so. I think once I've played it a couple of times, kind of understood it. Again, it's one of those which is kind of on my list of what I want to play, and we'll get around to it soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my personal opinion is it's the same level as Carcassonne as an entry level game for me. 8, it's enjoyable. The variations, I don't even know how many characters I've got now.
Got quite a few.
I'll do a quick count. Hang on. I think I've got about 24 characters. It says it's up to 6 players, but I have played a 12-player game. That is long, don't get me wrong.
Oh, I bet.
But obviously I do have the dynamic to be able to play a 24-player game.
Mm-hmm.
All the villains are different. All the ways they win are different. All the perks. Obviously, there can be a balancing issue. If you're playing somebody who's playing Prince John, their task is quite easy compared to like Lotso the bear, who has to has to vanquish all the toys and then have Buzz in the butterfly room. So that one's a little bit more.
That one sounds like it would be a little bit more of a longer play.
Yeah, so it does depend, but it does depend on the draw of the card as well. You could draw the cards you need straight off the top. But yeah, that for me, that's Disney Villainous. I mean, it's good fun. Pops is going to go with the next one.
Yeah, I would say this is probably, in terms of gameplay, the most easiest game. Well, the goal is probably the most easiest thing. Get from one side of the board to the other. And it's not Snakes and Ladders. It's Corridor.
Corridor, is that what we're going?
Corridor.
Corridor.
If you want to spell it that way. Yeah. It does have a weird spelling. I've got the Pac-Man version. You've got the Pac-Man version. I'm not going to touch on the Pac-Man side of it, just because I haven't played the Pac-Man side of it. I've only played the traditional get from one side to the other. I've probably played a good dozen times so far, maybe 15 times. No, maybe a dozen. I've won one. Once.
Your missus is quite good.
She's very strategic. She's never, ever, and this is her words, ever lost a game of Ludo in her life.
She hasn't played me yet, so we'll see.
We will set this up. We will do this where you will have a Champion of Champions Ludo game, and the winner gets to bragging rights. But then the winner then also has to play the other at Corridor.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of strategy, more strategy than I thought. Obviously, you can't block a complete route to the other side. It does get very frustrating, especially when I move and she just builds a whole long wall of...
I mean, I think maybe we should go into the basic gameplay in case people haven't played it. Yeah, the basic rule is...
You go from one side to the other, individual turns. Each turn you either move one square or you put up a wall to try and slow your opponent down. It can be, like I said, very frustrating when you feel like you're in the right place and then all of a sudden 3 walls appear and you're taking another 5 turns just to get 3 spaces in front. It can be very challenging. I guess on that sense, it's not an entry level because it can be very difficult. But in terms of understanding the gameplay, in terms of the goal of getting to the other side and picking it up, it is very, very easy.
I think, depending on who you're playing, I think if, like you and your missus did, you both picked it up, you'd never played it before, that's an entry-level game.
Yeah.
It's quick, it's cheap.
Yep.
Visually, it's incredible, especially the Pac-Man version.
I think the Pac-Man versions maybe opened it up to a few more people.
Absolutely.
I think, it's not just a wooden piece and some walls on essentially a chessboard.
Yeah. I think there's definitely people out there that won't enjoy it. They're just like, oh, it's just like chess.
It is. It is a game of chess. If you think about it, it is. How do I get ahead? How can I block?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see that if you can find a way to beat your missus. Now she has a strategy to beat you.
Yeah.
Because
she'll just can't. I've got close a couple of times. No, my strategy is getting better, and she said, no, "You're getting better," but still can't win. Still can't beat her.
I mean, I can talk about the Pac-Man version.
You've done the Pac-Man
variant. I've played the
variant.
Pac-Man version, and it's probably a good idea for you and your missus to play that once you get really annoyed with never beating her. It's quite good fun. The basic setup in the rulebook is explained really well.
The rulebook is so small because it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so basic. The variant you do have to have, you could have that just as 2-player, or you could have everyone playing.
Yeah.
As a separate character, which that would be 5 characters in total.
Yeah. So you can. Yeah. So the normal game is 2 players flat.
Can you remember the names of the characters?
Pac-Man and the 4 ghosts.
Yeah. Can you remember the name of the 4 ghosts?
Blue, pink, orange, and
No. There's Blinky.
I didn't even realise they had names.
Yes, they have names. Blinky is the only one I can remember. They're like, Blinky. I might have to Google this. But yes, carry on, and I will get the names.
So the variant for me was good fun. I mean, you set up the walls in a set place, and you set 4 dots, as they're called, dots. There's these little round balls you put on, and
The little tablets.
Yeah.
To make Pac-Man go.
The little pills. Yeah. The player playing Pac-Man has to collect all 4 without being caught by a ghost. I think he's got 3 lives, whereas the person playing the ghosts moves all the ghosts 1 square on their turn, and they just have to try and stop Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. And it is good fun, because if you're playing as a ghost, you've got to think about 4 different places to be. You've got to think about where Pac-Man's going to go after he gets the next one.
Yeah, because you want to get to that chaos.
He does get a speed boost when he eats a dot.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just.
I'd say a speed boost. It's he gets an extra square move.
Yeah.
He gets 2 moves instead of 1.
So it is quite good in that way.
So I've got the names.
Yeah.
The red one. That's Blinky.
Is that Blinky?
Blinky is the red one. Originally, it was very original, this name. The pink one is called
Pinky.
The cyan coloured one.
Cyan. Blue.
That's Inky.
Inky.
And then the orange one. What do you reckon? Yeah, have a guess.
Gingy.
Clyde.
Clyde.
As if like someone's gone, well, we've got Blinky, Pinky and Inky. What about Clyde?
Clyde's got to be one of the designing team or something for Pac-Man.
They just ran out. They just ran out of names, didn't they? Like, we can't really think of a name that goes with orange.
Orange.
But yeah, there we go. So if you didn't know, there's the names of the ghosts from Pac-Man.
Blinky, Pinky, Inky and Clyde.
And Clyde.
Nice. I've got a few honourable mentions for entry-level games. Just to run through quickly, I'm just going to run through the names of them. If you want to hear more about them, then please send us a message and we can add them to different episodes and that kind of stuff.
Or we'll just talk to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
We are real people.
Cluedo. That's a good entry-level game.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Pandemic.
Haven't played. We need to play that.
We need to play Pandemic. Pandemic's it's simple, but it's a bit heavier on strategy. So it's a good entry-level game for strategic and competitive people.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a cooperative game, so that's always good as well. Living Forest, we had a game.
Yeah, we had a game of that almost ended in a fight.
Yep.
But yeah, that was quite fun though. Visually
stunning.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Concept of the game really good. Easy to pick up. A bit daunting at first. Table presence is daunting.
Yeah, there seemed a lot to it, but actually, it was you take a lot during your go anyway, don't you? So
yeah, it was good. Very good. Munchkin, one of my favourite games.
I haven't played that. I can see it over there.
Easy to pick up. Knock down the door. Build a character out of cards. Bit Dungeons and Dragons-y. I've got a Nightmare Before Christmas version, of course.
We shall play that.
Yeah.
Either night. There we go. Question: Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it a Christmas film or a Halloween film?
It's a film. It's an all-year film.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanksgiving. There's Thanksgiving Town.
There is.
There's St. Patrick's Day Town. You know, it's all year.
It's all year
film.
round. It's all year.
Yeah, Munchkin. My last honourable mention is Codenames. Great 2-player game.
Mm-hmm.
Great team game.
It's angled. No, there's a lot of versions for children as well, like Harry Potter and Disney, and
they're all slightly different. There's an Excel version for people that can't read properly.
that would be good for me.
There's pictures. There's words. You know, it's an incredible game. Like we said, if you want to hear any more about those, then let us know.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
We have our first permanent segment of the podcast coming up.
Yep.
It has been called the Pops Quiz by Pops. This will be a regular occurrence for as long as I can find questions. If you have any good questions for us, please pop them in the comments.
Put them on Instagram. DM us.
Yeah,
anything.
DM the questions to us, whatever.
Well, just to let you know, that Pops does look at Instagram, so we will know the answers if you do send them.
Yeah, send the questions, and then we'll do them.
Yeah, we'll try and work out.
It.
We'll try and work out the answers.
We'll do it live and then look them up as we go.
Yes.
After this, we'll do this segment. Feel free to play along. Comment how many you get on the questions. I'm going to try and get progressively harder as the weeks go by, as the months go by. So, Pops, are you ready? Question 1. In Operation, what is the name of the character having his body parts removed?
You said they were going to get harder. This is really difficult.
It's not though. It's in the rulebook. I think it's also on the back.
You're suggesting I've read the rulebook to Operation, which is go in there and pull the bones out without it going buzz. No idea.
No.
Jim. Speckled Jim.
Cavity Sam is his name. Cavity Sam.
Not Filmer Cavity.
Not Filmer Cavity, no. Cavity Sam.
Cavity Sam. Wow. I never knew that.
That one is on the harder side.
That felt like it was impossible.
Strangely enough, I knew it when I read the question. I did it on one of those things where you have to click to get the answer. And yeah, Cavity Sam. Number 2. What is the biggest room on a Cluedo board?
Oh.
For our American listeners, which we don't really have at the minute, this is a clue board.
Clue board. I'm really struggling. I want to go with the library.
No. It's the ballroom.
It's the ballroom. Of course it's a ballroom. Ballrooms are always massive.
All right, I'm going to apologise if this question is worded slightly wrong, but number 3. In what game would you have to balance a frying pan, a bedroll, a cowboy hat, and a shovel?
Oh, that's really easy. It's Buckaroo.
It is Buckaroo.
I almost said Beast of Balance.
Great game, but I don't think there's a cowboy hat in that.
No, it's definitely Buckaroo. One of my favourite games as a kid.
Awesome.
I loved it.
I love Buckaroo.
Almost as good as Pop-Up Pirate.
We have Pop-Up Olaf now.
You got to cater for the youngsters now.
Absolutely. Question 4. How many train cards must a player draw to win Ticket to Ride?
Again, I haven't played Ticket to Ride
No,
yet.
but you know enough about Ticket to Ride to answer this question. Rack your brains. I'll read it again for you. How many train cards must a player draw to win Ticket to Ride?
I can go with 5.
No, it's kind of a trick question. Players don't draw train cards to win Ticket to Ride. They have to complete routes and get the highest score.
Is it a bit like Catan?
No.
Oh, that's okay then.
No, Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is classed as an entry-level game by some.
Okay.
I enjoy Ticket to Ride, but there is deep strategy in it when it comes to playing with the people I play it with. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a trick question. Yeah, the exact answer was players don't draw don't win based on drawing train cards. They win based on playing routes and getting points.
Do you draw train cards in the game?
Yeah, to be able to play trains.
So
you don't get it by drawing a certain amount.
Okay.
Question 5.
Oh.
Rolling back the clock here for some people. In Trivial Pursuit.
Which one? 80s, 90s?
In Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
What colour represents science and nature?
Don't think it's blue.
Just double checking to make sure mine isn't on display. No, it's not.
It's not on display. I'll go with
Science and nature.
I'm going to go with green.
It is green. I believe in most versions of Trivial Pursuit it is always green. Science and nature is always green. I don't even know what the other categories are. They've gone from sports and leisure is orange.
Yeah, there's an orange. I know the colours. There's orange, yellow, purple. Is that purple?
No, it's
Purple, blue?
pink, isn't it?
Pink, blue.
Brown.
Yes.
One of those.
Brown like geography or politics or something.
There's, was it sports and leisure, science and nature, history, art and literature.
I mean, at the moment, the conversation's turned into two old men rambling about what's in Trivial Pursuit.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
No, not really, no.
If you know all 5, let us know. I mean, like we said, for entry-level games, it's pretty much any game that's easy to play, easy to pick up and engaging. It's the most important aspect of any board game for me is being engaging the whole time.
Pick up and play, I think, is much like a video game. Pick up a controller, turn it on, play. You kind of want that from an entry-level board game, I think.
The best entry-level games for me are games that lead the players on to wanting to play different types of games.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's kind of led me now to want to play games where I build like a stash, I guess, in a way. I build collections in order to make my player or character better, to make it more powerful throughout a game. That's just coming from a couple of easy pick up and build games, so to speak.
Absolutely. Like I said, comment if you have any games you think we should have spoken about or any opinions on the games we have spoke about. It'd be interesting to hear people's opinions on things like Catan, Carcassonne, that kind of stuff. Any games you think we've missed, anything you think should be on the list, just let us know. Once again, if we can just ask anybody that listens, if you enjoy the podcast, please review us, leave us a rating, follow us on Spotify, and follow us on Instagram. Thanks very much for listening.
Ta-ra.